In the crowded classroom, the air felt heavy with whispers. David took his seat, but the other kid's stares burned into his back.
You smell that? It's dirty David.
David's fists clenched. Heat rose to his cheeks as the words echoed in his ears.
Shut up.
Before he could stop himself, David lunged. Desks screeched against the floor as the scuffle broke out. The teacher's sharp voice cut through the chaos. David sat stiffly across from the principal, his hands gripping the edges of the chair. This behavior is unacceptable. We don't tolerate fighting here. The wooden paddle cracked sharply against David's small frame. Once, twice, 3 times. David's eyes welled with tears, but he refused to cry. His back ached as he stood to leave, his pride barely intact as he makes his way back to class. The school bell rang, and David and Thomas walked out of school together, kicking at the cracked pavement with their worn sneakers. Their stomachs grumbled with hunger, but their steps halted when a car suddenly pulled up beside them. It was their mother. This was kind of odd because she didn't own a car.
Get in.
The boys climb in, greeted by their sister's smile in the back seat.
Can we go to McDonald's?
Sure, why not?
The car fills with joyful shouts. For a brief moment, everything felt normal. The smell of salty fries and warm burgers filled the air. Their laughter drowned out the world outside. But as David stared out the window, the joy began to fade. The sound of his siblings playing grew faint, replaced by his thoughts. His gaze hardened as the car slowed to a stop in front of an unfamiliar house. The car came to a halt in front of a modest house, its chipped paint and sagging porch railing mirroring the weariness in David's heart.
Whose house is this?
Your sister's daddy lives here.
Terry's small face lit up with excitement, unaware of the heaviness in David's chest. She climbed out of the car, waving enthusiastically. David and Thomas leaned out the window, waving back at their sister with a look of sadness. They hated being apart. It would be 5 years later before they'd see each other again. As they drove through the darkening streets, a silence had fallen over the car. The earlier excitement had vanished. His eyes drifted to his mother, and that's when he saw it.
Mama, you're bleeding. What's wrong?
Don't worry, baby. Mama's fine.
Her words rang hollow. David's eyes lingered on the blood soaking through her jeans, a quiet dread settling into his stomach. He looked out the window, his reflection staring back at him in the glass. Moments later, the car pulled up to another house, this one unfamiliar as well. Their mother turned to the boys, her voice soft but firm.
I'm gonna need y'all to stay with Miss Jackson for a while. I'll be back soon.
Promise?
I promise.
David climbed out of the car, watching as his mother adjusted her blood-soaked jeans before getting back into the driver's seat. Their eyes met briefly, and in that moment he knew she wasn't coming back anytime soon.